When schools come to us to inquire about behaviour management, they are looking to tick many boxes. But when we bore down into it, they are mostly looking for four main things. Number one, they're looking for simple strategies to set limits on students' disruptive behaviour as it's occurring. Secondly, they want skills that teachers can easily learn to help students to develop self-regulation. Thirdly, they want more time teaching to improve learning outcomes in their students. And finally, to lessen stress caused to teachers by student behaviour.
We needed a framework for behaviour management, and 123 Magic and Emotion Coaching provided that framework.
I think we were at a point in time where we were finding, and I think incrementally over the last 10-15 years in education, I think we've seen the time that we lose from education resolving conflicts and solving social situations when children don't have the skills to solve them themselves.
A 2014 South Australian report found that about 30% of teachers are very stressed by managing student behaviour, which rises to 40% for those in lower SES schools. The report calls for teachers to be given better information about what strategies work best in the classroom.
You work it out based on the children in your classroom and what their needs are and what you need to do to help them regulate their own behaviour. So basically in a low SES community like this with the social problems that go with that, we have young people that come to school on a daily basis that are either emotionally overstimulated or emotionally drained. So it's really important then that we, through emotion coaching and through talking with them in an appropriate way, start to identify for them what's going on.
So we approached 123 Magic originally because we were looking for something that was consistent for children in the playground, in the classroom, and that was simple.
That's the best part of it. We all understand the language. We can compare and contrast and talk about it in the same language. It's really important for staff to do that.
We found here in our context where we've got about a third girls and two-third boys, that our boys were just needing consistency. They were needing teachers in all subject areas or learning areas to be dealing with any behavioural issues in exactly the same way. Introduced in conjunction with our social emotional program, so it links in quite tightly with that. We don't have children starting a new year and trying to establish for themselves new rules, new norms for the teacher that they've got. They just start the new year, behaviour expectations are exactly the same as they were before. It's just a matter of resetting the stop and start behaviours.
The improvement was in regards to the number of children in the classroom that were able to self-regulate increased exponentially every year.
Well, I'd say there's been a significant improvement in behaviour in the playground as children have developed the skills to independently monitor their own behaviour and regulate their own behaviour. The kids are actually managing it pretty much themselves. Rather than just jumping into situations, you can actually see them sitting back now and really trying to make that conscious choice of what do I do next before they do something. Yep. I think it's actually had a flow-on effect as well, the emotion coaching over time, that kids are almost starting to emotion coach each other and emotion coach themselves. So that being modelled constantly, I think, has had a significant impact on the kids' capacity to understand their own emotions. That was one of the major advantages we saw in it. In that initial implementation was, for the first time, kids saw themselves on equal par and equal footing. It was just that stop and think. There was no judgment attached. For the teachers as well, if you talk to them, they would say it's far less tiring than what they were doing previously because they're not sitting down and negotiating and discussing every single issue. They would say that they're not getting into potentially as many battles with kids. I think it actually avoids getting bogged down in little things that really sometimes we just need to let go.
So more time teaching, less time on crowd control?
Definitely.
Yeah.